You ever meet someone who just gets how money works, even at a young age? That's not luck. That's parenting. Wealthy parents don't just hand over cash, they hand over mindset, habits, and systems that shape how their kids see work, money, and life. So, what do rich parents teach that poor parents usually don't? We're talking about real-world money skills that grow over time. Not one-off tips, but habits that build serious generational wealth. If no one taught you this stuff, that ends today. Let's get into it. Check out the full details by visiting the link in the description. Rich parents teach the difference between assets and liabilities. Rich parents don't let their kids confuse what looks expensive with what builds wealth. They teach that assets put money in your pocket and liabilities take it out. A new car might impress your friends, but it'll bleed your wallet the minute you drive it off the lot. Wealthy families show their kids how to buy things that grow: stocks, rental property, cash-flowing businesses. Poor families, without knowing better, might celebrate buying things that actually drain their finances. Long-term wealth starts with buying assets and avoiding liabilities that eat your future. Wealthy parents raise kids who earn, not expect. Kids raised in rich households aren't always spoiled. In fact, many grow up hearing that the money isn't theirs unless they prove they can manage it. The message is clear: success has to be earned, not inherited. That creates pressure, yes, but also responsibility and drive. They're taught that the safety net disappears if they slack off, and that legacy only lasts if you protect and grow it. Poor households often shield their kids from hard truths, which can backfire when adulthood hits. Rich parents use wealth to challenge, not cushion. Rich parents teach their kids that money is a tool. Some people grow up hearing that money is the root of all evil, like having it makes you selfish or corrupt. Rich parents flip that script. They teach that money is just a tool, and a powerful one. Used right, it can buy back your time, fund your dreams, and support causes you care about. They show their kids how to spend on things that grow in value instead of chasing short-term thrills. Poor families might never get to see money used well, so it becomes this mysterious source of stress. For the wealthy, it's just another resource to manage smartly. Financial literacy starts at home with rich parents. No one is born knowing how compound interest works or why taxes matter. Rich parents don't wait for school to teach it. They take that job themselves. Their kids learn early how to budget, invest, and read a financial statement. It's not about creating little accountants. It's about building confidence. Poor families often can't teach what they don't know, so the next generation starts at a disadvantage. The biggest gap between rich and poor usually isn't income, it's financial literacy. Wealthy families raise socially connected kids. Connections aren't just about who you know, they're about how you show up. Wealthy parents understand this and raise their kids to be comfortable in rooms where opportunity lives. They encourage friendships with motivated peers, teach their kids to speak well, and expose them to circles that offer real leverage. When those kids grow up, they already know how to build strong networks that open doors. Poor families may focus on surviving day to day, not realizing that social capital is just as valuable as financial capital. The rich don't just pass down money, they pass down access. Rich parents teach good debt versus bad debt early. Rich parents don't just warn their kids about debt, they teach them how to use it. They explain the difference between borrowing to consume and borrowing to grow. A credit card maxed out on travel or clothes is a trap. A loan used to buy income-producing property or grow a business is a strategic move. The poor often only see the downside of debt because it's been a burden in their own lives. The wealthy treat it like fire. It can burn you or heat your house depending on how you use it. Knowing the difference changes everything. Solving problems. The rich parent strategy for teaching wealth. The path to wealth usually starts with solving a real problem for someone else. Rich parents drill this into their kids early. They explain that money flows to people who fix things. That could be creating software, cleaning homes, or building better systems. The bigger the problem, the bigger the payday. Poor families often don't frame work this way. They talk about finding a job, not creating value. That shift in mindset makes all the difference. Rich kids grow up looking for opportunities to serve, not just ways to earn. Rich parents teach that knowledge is more valuable than money. A pile of cash can disappear fast, but skills, insight, and experience will keep earning forever. That's why rich parents invest so heavily in education, formal and informal. They encourage their kids to read, learn, experiment, and keep growing. The goal isn't just good grades, it's building a brain that knows how to think, adapt, and solve. Poor families may not have the bandwidth to invest in knowledge the same way, especially under pressure. But this is the edge that builds unstoppable value. When your knowledge compounds, your income does too. Wealthy parents teach their kids that money reflects character. Rich parents make it clear that money isn't a moral compass. It doesn't change who you are, it just makes you more of it. A kind person with money can fund schools and feed families. A selfish one might buy more toys and isolate themselves. The lesson is simple. Focus on character, not image. Teach generosity, gratitude, and discipline. Poor families sometimes see the rich as automatically greedy, but it's not that simple. Money doesn't corrupt, it amplifies. So, raise someone worth amplifying. Rich parents raise long-term thinkers. If you can't wait, you won't win. That's one of the hardest lessons and one the wealthy teach early. Rich kids grow up knowing that compound growth, smart investments, and big wins take time. They don't need every reward today because they've seen what patience pays. Poor families, out of necessity, often prioritize now. But instant gratification kills momentum. Long-term thinking is the difference between chasing money and building wealth. Rich parents teach their kids to play the long game and stick with it. Wealthy families focus on growing income, not just cutting costs. Saving money has a ceiling. Earning more doesn't. Rich families teach their kids not to obsess over cutting every dollar. They show them how to increase what comes in. That means learning skills, spotting income streams, and thinking creatively about value. Poor families often get stuck in survival mode, focused only on what they can slash. But no one ever saved their way into real wealth. The key is expansion, not contraction. Rich kids grow up aiming higher, not smaller. Rich parents teach their kids to make money work for them. Trading time for money is where most people start, but it's not where the wealthy stay. Rich parents teach their kids that money should be an employee, not a boss. Once you earn it, put it to work. Let it earn dividends, cash flow, and equity while you sleep. Poor families often spend what they earn and repeat the cycle. But when your money starts working harder than you do, that's when the game changes. The goal isn't more hours, it's more output. What wealthy parents teach their kids? The biggest advantage rich kids have been the money, it's the mindset. Wealthy parents pass down a way of thinking that sets their kids up to succeed long before they touch a paycheck. They grow up understanding how the world works, how money grows, and how to build something that lasts. Poor kids aren't less capable. They just haven't been handed the same playbook. But that playbook isn't locked. It's right here. And once you learn it, you can pass it down too. Thanks for watching. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget the link in the description.